Thank you. Hi, everybody. So I'm Bob. It's so good to see you guys. I think of this gathering, and I think your mind must look like just a bunch of fireworks. Doesn't it just like mind blown over and over and over? Some of you Enneagram 7s, this is how you always live. You know who you are. But here we have a God that knows everything that has happened, everything that is happening, and everything that's gonna happen. But here's the crazy part, the angels don't. The angels only know whatever God tells them. Check it out in Matthew. The angel says God says to the angel, tell Joseph he's gonna be a father. And can you imagine Joseph saying like, no way. And then God says, Yahweh. Like, if you want to dazzle the angels, you'll leave Orange with a newfound decision to be obedient. Because if you want to dazzle God, obedience will always do it. And that's not my go-to. That obedience is not where I grew up. And that doesn't light me up. But this thing about following Jesus, and the thing I want you to be obedient to is who God authentically made you. I want us to understand why we're doing what we're doing. A couple of you guys came and high-fived me about the Red Sox. I'm not a Red Sox fan. I've never gone to a baseball game. We evidently have a major league team in San Diego. Who would know? But my neighbor Carol was a huge Red Sox fan, and we knew she was gonna be in heaven by the end of the week. And so we made a deal. I said, Carol, I will wear your Red Sox hat for the rest of my life and represent the Red Sox here on earth. But in exchange, every time Jesus walks by you, you need to mention my name. I'm keeping a mind of the deal. I was walking through JFK in New York, and people were hissing at me because they're evidently were cheering for the Yankees. But if they knew I was wearing my dead neighbor's hat, they'd feel so bad. Well, New York, who knows? But you get the idea. Know why you're doing what you're doing because the angels are watching. And I think if we figure out the holy nature of what you're doing, we'll have like just a new perspective and a new authenticity. There's a person who was a youth leader that reached out to me. I was like about 17 or 18 at the time, but I wish he would have caught me earlier. This is what I looked like when he met me. Maybe not as blown out and white, but like I was just this young, crazed guy. And there was a young life leader who reached out to me and he told me who I was. He reminded me, he came with no agenda, because when love has an agenda, it isn't love anymore. It's a program. And we don't need more programs. We need people who are dazzling the angels with their authenticity. It is 44 years later, every single Friday, including today, that guy and I meet over the phone, over Zoom. We've missed very few. In the better part of a half a century, that's the holy work that you're doing. When it's time to get married to Sweet Maria, he was the guy that officiated. When the kids started coming along, he was the guy that showed up. This is the holy work that you're called to, but I want you to do this. I need you to go be you. Don't be a caricature of who you are. And we only have a little bit of time to figure it out. This is what most of us get. 27,383 days. More if you eat broccoli, less if you eat Pop-Tarts. You know who you are. So my question is, what's the next humblest version of you gonna return from Orange Light? I don't want us to be the same because we're supposed to be new creations. So what changes? I've got you guys by a couple years. The new version of Bob, I bought a little farm and we bring people out there. I have these fuzzy cows there. Oh, come on, it's like a puppy picture. If you could make depends big enough, they would make great house pets. They're called Scottish Highland cows. And I started raising these cows and then bringing people from near and far to work out in a really authentic, safe place. The deeper questions about life and faith and origin. I want people to just get there with their thoughts. Somebody knew I was raising Highlands, so he asked me, do you want my Highland? I'll give it to you. And because we have a lot of people visiting, I said, is it a nice cow? He says, super nice cow. Well, this cow showed up at the Oaks, and I was there to greet it, and it came off the trailer, and it gored me, like stitches. And I looked at the guy and said, I thought it was a nice cow. And the guy said in a big Southern drawl, she don't know she has horns. Oh, that'll preach. Some of the people you're going to return to, they got horns. They don't know it. They think they're nuzzling you when they're goring you. Remember why you're doing what you're doing. Hebrews 12, keeping your eyes fixed on Jesus. If we get that thing right, and don't be deluded. I'll tell you something else you can learn if you own a farm. You can hypnotize a chicken. Have you ever done that? Oh, leave now. Get a chicken. What you do is you take the chicken, you put it on its back, and you start rubbing right here. And after about 20 rubs, it's out cold. I'm telling you, it's awesome, you guys. This is what will happen to you in ministry. People will say it's such a good sermon. They'll say it's such a good youth group you've got. It's such a good whatever. And all of a sudden, you'll just find yourself asleep. Wake up. Wake up to who God wants you to be. Dazzle the angels. Engage people. Find the stories that people are telling about you. And to say, is that who I was or is that who I am? A lot of people know me as a happy guy, and I'm a happy guy. I'm like born pretty optimistic. But we get these stories, and then when we're running around as the happy guy all the time, sometimes you can ignore what really goes on inside. I get really sad. I get like deeply wounded by things that have happened. Maybe you too. You don't need to be a caricature. Don't let this take you out of the game.